morning, Dr. Yap. This is our presentation for English Phonetics and Phonology on our project titled Researching on Chinese Native Speakers with regard to liquid sounds R and R. My name is Nur Naziha Abdul Rashid, metric ID 183361, and my group members are Rachel N. Silvaraja, Suresh Ramachandran, Kwan Zi Young, and Amanda Lee Tai Yin. The objective of the project is for us to study the pronunciation of the sounds R and R by the Chinese native speakers and Malaysian Chinese native speakers. Secondly, the project determines to find the underlying factors that may cause the difference in pronunciation. And finally, we aim to compare the R and R pronunciation between the two selected target groups. The questionnaire is part of identifying the factors that might cause the differences in pronunciation. For instance, the mother tongue of the respondents, the amount of time they use English to communicate, the stimulus the respondents are open to, the standardized tests that respondents have undergone, for example, MUET or IELTS, their confidence in speaking in English, and whether or not the respondents realize their possible errors might add up to the factors that might cause the difference in pronunciation. These are the words given to the respondents so they could try to pronounce it. The first word is parallel. Second is ruler. Third is Lamborghini. Fourth is larynx. Fifth, literal. Sixth, literature. 7, really. 8, relax. 9th, rarely. 10th, very. 11th, wary. And the final word, 12th, usually.
A very good morning to Dr. Yap. This is Rachel N., metric number 182454. I'll be talking on the Chinese native speakers and the results of the findings for their pronunciation. So the recording has been conducted on respondents from China who are currently international students in Malaysia. Only one of the respondents of the Chinese native speakers was able to pronounce the word and R sound accurately. Respondent 1 added a R sound at the end of the word parallel. However, he was able to pronounce most of the words with regards to the and R sound. Respondent 1 pronounced the word parallel as parallel. He pronounced the word literature as literature. Really, there was a mispronunciation the word rally, there was a mispronunciation as really. The sound at the letter ending part of the word is hard to pronounce among them. Respondent 1 dropped the R sound because of first language influence. Respondent 2 pronunciation of the L sound at onset, middle and end were dubious. They were uncertain at a few times. Respondent 2 pronounced the A sound wrongly, and this is because the sound is not present in the Mandarin language. Respondent 3 could pronounce most of the words. She struggled with the word rally. Respondent 3 mispronounced the word usually as usually. Respondent 4 added a R sound before the O sound in the word parallel. She also mispronounced the word rally as really. Respondent 5 was the only one that was able to pronounce all the words with the U and R sound clearly. She didn't have any difficulty in pronouncing any of the words with regards to the L and R sound. Now moving on to Suresh.
Good morning, Dr. Yap. This is Suresh Ramachandran. My metric number is 184143. I'm going to present on the underlying factors which cause difficulties for the Chinese native speakers from China to pronounce the L and R sounds. The first factor is the precision of L and R sounds in syllables. Most of the Chinese native speakers found difficulties in pronouncing L and R sounds due to its different position in syllables. The L sound, which appears syllable finally or in the middle, as in the word parallel, and usually is hard to pronounce among them. Mandarin Chinese have L and R at the initial place of a syllable, but do not at the end of the word. The Chinese R in fact different from English R sound or from German or French, and in some of the dialect there is no R sound. Sometimes the Mandarin R sound is pronounced as N or Y. For example, the word ribbon can be found pronounced as "neben" or "eben". The same situation occurs when one of the respondents of Chinese native speaker pronounced the word Lamborghini as Namborghini. As the and L in the end of a syllable do not show up in Chinese, many Chinese have trouble with this. The second factor cause the difficulties is the speaker's first language, which means is their native language. The speaker's first language affects their English pronunciation. Mandarin language and in most of the dialects do not have sound combinations or consonant clusters and certain diphthongs as we found in English. For example, a and ll as in the word parallel are not present in Mandarin language. Consonant clusters or two consonants found together without a vowel insertion are not common in Chinese, so the speakers often add a slight vowel or consonant to the sound combination which they feel comfort with their pronunciation for such words. For example, respondent 1 adds the word "a" to the word parallel to pronounce as it as parallel. The respondent 3, he had the word "r" to the word "usually" to pronounce it as a "usually". This table shows the sum of the received pronunciation of Chinese native speakers for the words given. The first word, parallel. Respondent 1 pronounced the word parallel as parallel. He had the er last at the last part of the word. Respondent 2 pronounced the word Lamborghini as Namborghini. Respondent 3 pronounced the word usually as usually. Respondent 4 pronounced the word rarely as rarely.
Hi, my name is Kwan Ziyong, metric number 182848, and I will proceed with the findings of the Malaysian Chinese native speakers. So we have collected the data from 5 Malaysian Chinese native speakers of different backgrounds with different level of English language proficiency. All 5 of them share a common thing, which is they are able to speak 3 languages, such as Chinese, English, and Malay. Through this project, we found 2 results for our findings. The first result is that we found that 4 out of 5 Malaysian Chinese native speakers were able to pronounce the and sounds accurately. Only one respondent was seen to have slight difficulty with the the and sounds, as she was heard pronouncing the word ruler as rural. The second result is that we noticed all 5 of the respondents did not pronounce the l sound when it is situated at the end of the word. For instance, the word parallel and literal. So for the underlying factor to their pronunciation, we realized that Malaysian Chinese native speakers might have some difficulties in pronouncing the and sounds, especially when both of the sounds are present in a word. For instance, ruler. And we use the word might have the difficulty. The word might is because only one of the 5 respondents weren't able to pronounce ruler. For the second factor is that the Malaysian Chinese native speakers tend to drop the l sound when it occurs at the end of the word with 3 syllables. I mean, the word has 3 syllables or more, so they tend to drop the sounds because it requires more effort, maybe the movement of the tongue, to pronounce the sound at the end. Moving on to the next presenter.
Good morning. This is Amanda Lee, and my metric number is 185258. So right now I'll be presenting on the comparison between the Chinese native speakers and the Malaysian Chinese native speakers. Overall, 4 out of 5 of the Chinese native speakers, they have some difficulties in pronouncing the l and r. There is only one Chinese native speaker can pronounce the l and r sounds accurately. And most of the Chinese native speakers, they find it difficult to pronounce the l and r sounds due to its different position in syllables. Furthermore, one of the Chinese native speakers pronounced the l as n for most of the words. For instance, Lamborghini, the word Lamborghini, he pronounced Lamborghini. On the other hand, most of the Malaysian Chinese native speakers, they can pronounce the l and r precisely. However, majority of them did not pronounce the l sound when it is placed at the end of the word. For instance, the word parallel. So, in conclusion, most of the respondents assume that they can pronounce the l and r sound, but they seem to face some difficulties in pronouncing both of the sounds. Moreover, the status of English language in a country does contribute the result of the pronunciation of l and r produced by 2 groups of people, which is the Chinese native speakers and the Malaysian Chinese native speakers. In China, English language is recognized as a foreign language, whereas it is acknowledged as a second language in Malaysia. So lastly, the factors of the pronunciation l and r
by the Chinese native speakers, and the Malaysian Chinese native speakers can be identified based on the background of the respondents. So that is all from us, from our group. Thank you.
Recording.